Well, if all else fails, I could just start selling myself to tourists. Might make a few quid. I mean, I know I'm past my best, but there is that old saying, isn't there? Even an out-of-date burger can feed the truly starving.
It's the Daylight Midnight Show.
Hello and welcome. Let's get straight into this message. Was Pogo Dave Penguin so embarrassed by the start of the show that he took a dive rather than be part of it? Yes, in case you missed this, this is something that happened in the first 30 seconds of last week's show. And while you're watching this, don't pay attention to me. Watch what's going on behind me. Yes, it won't surprise you to hear me say that it's dull and dark and dreary here again, so I've given in and putting a light on this week so you can at least see me. Now, last week's show was almost exactly 10 minutes long. So there you go. So that has actually forced us to have a little bit of a rethink, and from now on, Pogo Dave Penguin, our show mascot, is going to be there so that I can't knock him off the back of the chair. And if you take a dive this time, I'll know for a fact you've done it because you hate me. Thank you very much indeed. Something else you might have noticed, if you're feeling slightly uneasy because you're watching me and you're going, something looks slightly different to last week, besides my outfit, which was dictated by Outfit Roulette, some of the stuff on the Door of Delights might have moved. Earlier this week I was doing some filming for something else and I had to do it here and I had to have a bare door behind me. So I had to remove everything from the Door and Delights and then try and put it back on again in roughly the same place. So I think, I haven't double checked it with last week's show, but I think this is just about right for where everything was. So let's add to the Door of Delights with this week's slogan, and the exciting news is, it's printed again rather than drawn by my own fair hand. And I would like to sit here and lay claim to wonderful technological advances within myself and wonderful technical abilities that I didn't have a couple of weeks ago. The truth is, I haven't got a clue. I just plugged the printer in on chance and the computer and the printer started talking to each other and I've been able to print again. So our printed slogan for this week is a beautiful day. I'm printing stuff, just not very big yet. For two reasons. Hopefully it was the same for you. We had some amazing weather. Wednesday this week felt like a late spring, early summer day. Very, very welcome, very, very needed. I got to sit outside in the churchyard reading my new book and generally feeling quite wonderful. And also, point number B that's relevant to the slogan is that our little Greg and Nori story has come to an end today. The story that we've written together is now closed. A Beautiful Day for Gordon Grape is finished, and we'll come to that a bit later on. So let's do our fun fact for a Friday then, something new that I've learned and added to my weird mind over the course of the past 7 days that I've decided to share with you. Okay, the shortest confirmed time for human labour from water first breaking to baby being born is just 9 minutes. The whole process of labour took just 9 minutes. And what amazed me about that was, on the same day that I read that, I also read that the world record for holding your breath underwater is now 18 minutes, which is twice as long as that. So effectively, what that tells me is, if I was to get 2 women pregnant at the same time, very unlikely, if I was to get 2 women pregnant at the same time, and they gave birth on the same day, but their labour started 10 minutes apart, and they equaled the record for the shortest labour ever recorded by a human female, technically speaking, I could hold my breath when the first one went into labour and keep holding my breath right to the end of the second birth. These are the things I think about. So, have I been digging a garden or maybe watching birds? Let's find out. It's time for my week in 10 words. So alongside taking stuff off the door and putting it back again and writing down weird facts and thinking about holding my breath during labour, what have I been up to? I'm going to tell you how my week's gone in exactly 10 words. Here we go. Great meeting, unusual sausage roll, solo filming, great party, storytelling. A lot of that is quite self-explanatory. Why did I write down unusual sausage roll? The great meeting that I had last Friday was in... Saturday. Was in a cafe. And we had snacks halfway through because we were in a bit of a creative burst. And I ordered a sausage roll and I expected a sausage roll. What I actually got was something I don't think I've ever seen before, which was a whole sausage like what you would get in a fish and chip shop with just a bit of pastry wrapped around it. So it was like a sausage roll and a hot dog had had a baby. And it really threw me, because normally when you get a sausage roll, you get that weird, non-specific meat taste that claims to be edible in the middle of it, don't you? Where it's best not to think about what you're eating. And at least when you see a sausage, you know that it's mostly crud. So it was a very weird experience, but it was nice. Odd, but nice. So I just thought I would mention it. So from my week in 10 words, I don't think you need to know what the rest of that stuff was. Let's go to the purple card then, which is of course now green and has its own theme song. The cinema is best because you get a bigger screen. Let's see what I've written on the card that's green. So the green card is where I just write stuff down as the week goes on. I decide I want to talk to you about it, and so we get here and we talk about it. I'm still thinking about mentioning the solo filming. I'll do that at the end. So on the green card this week, point number 1 is all about the word latest. Yeah, this really vexed me the other day, and it's going to make me sound insane, I know, but I'm going to share it with you because it's on the green card. So latest, the word latest means like the most up-to-date or the most recent or the most timely, but late means something that is late or behind the times. And normally, if you have a word that ends est, it means it is the best of something. If you see something that is great and then something that is greatest, the thing that is greatest is more great than the thing that is great. But that doesn't work with late and latest, because if something is the latest thing, then it's the most recent thing, right? It's up to date. So it can't be later than something that's late. This is the kind of thing that bothers me. Point number 2, on paper is better than on screen. I've tried reading books online recently and then had a brand new book arrived. It did help that I was reading it outside in the sunlight, but I just sat there thinking, this is how we're supposed to read. We're supposed to have stuff printed on bits of paper that we read, not doing it all through a screen. And I think it's better with this show as well, because now I've managed to fix the printer, I've been able to print off the running order and I'm reading from that rather than having the laptop in front of me, which just somehow feels more natural, more friendly, and more of a connection between you and I for some reason. And that's all I've written on the green card for this week. So let's go on to the exciting moment then of our interactive Greg and Nori. Way back at I think in the launch of Series 4, I said I had this dream that we would write a story together. I would start it off with the title and you guys would come up with a chapter each. And it really has worked. There's been some weeks where we haven't had one, but we've managed to get through to chapter 10, which I said would be the final chapter. And it's really lovely that this has happened and that you've dived into it as stupidly as I did when I started it in the first place. But someone made a suggestion to me early this week that I just wanted to mention. And that suggestion was that we could use AI to write the final chapter. And I know that the person that suggested this to me, it was coming from a nice place. It was coming from it wasn't being lazy, it was being, you know, it's really nice because all these different people have contributed. And what you can do using AI now is you can put all those people and their work into the AI and it will come up with a chapter that effectively has been written by all of them. So I understand the feeling behind that, but it just plucked at a nerve of me, which is very sort of anti-AI. And I want to be careful here because one of the house rules is that I will never rant and rave about stuff that's going on out in the real world. But I think AI is a huge thing that's happening at the moment, and as a creative person, it's something I have to be aware of and need to address. So I just thought I would mention it today. I don't ever have any intention of using any kind of AI creatively. I might for admin stuff or accounts or that stuff I'm not very good at and have a go at and end up getting in trouble with. But I don't ever want to use it as part of my creative process. And I haven't thought this through properly, so bear with me as I'm sort of formulating the thoughts. I don't want to sound really like pretentious and I'm an artist, but my creative process, for what it's worth, is very precious to me. And I do put a lot of work into everything that I do. You might not think it always shows, but I assure you that everything I do, I really think about it and I work very, very hard at it. And I know when I publish something, or when I post something, or when I send a bit of work off to someone that they've asked for, it's me. I've put everything into it. I've thought about it. I've done my best with it, and then I've sent it off. So it stands or it falls. It fails or succeeds entirely on me. And I'm kind of happy with that. I'm happy with that pressure. If something doesn't work, if someone doesn't laugh, if they just don't like it, that's fine. At least I know it came from me and I did my best. I haven't got the excuse of having run it through a search engine or an AI or this thing that I don't want to mention its name, but has the same initials as me with chat at the front of it, which has been suggested to me. And I know a lot of people that use it, and that's fine. That's up to people. But for me, it kind of takes away that connection between me producing something that you can watch and enjoy or comment on, depending on how you feel about it. But at least you know it has come from me. I mean, I think I've put more than 150 videos on YouTube now. And I'm sure if you had the time and the computer power and the money and the inclination, you could get AI to look at all 150 of those videos and then come up with something that looks very, very much like a Greg produced video. maybe not with my face photorealistic, but it would come up with an idea and a concept that you wouldn't be able to tell whether it was me or not, but it wouldn't be from me. So this is kind of my way of assuring you, or just making a declaration, that I will never, as I'm sitting here at the moment, use AI for anything that appears on this show or on my channel or a bit of work that I've produced at all. It's always going to be my work, regardless of how long it takes me, whether it's late, whatever it ends up being like, what you may think of it. It's always come from me 100%, and I haven't used any kind of computer assistance in any way. Thank you. So that being said, let me read you Chapter 10, the final instalment of our little story, A Beautiful Day for Gordon Grape. And Chapter 10 has been written by Rachel with 2 L's. So I apologise if I should be pronouncing that Rachel or Raquel, but Rachel's completed it, and next week I'm going to read the whole story. But this is Chapter 10. The truth was that Gordon had never been on a vine in the open, in the countryside. He was created in a genetics company that was trying to solve our impending food crisis by growing fruit in enclosed spaces that didn't need sunlight to thrive. Gordon was being fed on a revolutionary fertilizer that combined elements of horse manure, DDT, caffeine and amphetamines. The whole thing had been a drug-induced dream. The end. So thank you for all your contributions to our interactive Greg and Ori story, and next week on a special edition of the show I will read the entire story from Chapter 1 to the end of Chapter 10. Thank you all very much indeed. What will I be wearing while I do that? Well, let's find out using the wonderful outfit roulette system, using the rotating randomness of the coloured cube. We will use whatever is in column red. So next week I'll be wearing a vest once again. Over the top of that will be whatever is in column purple, which is my dressing gown. Right, we're going to do a re-roll there because we don't want to have the same thing twice, and I don't want you seeing with this. So column number 2, once again, will be whatever is in blue. So vest underneath a black jacket, and to accessorise all that will be whatever is in column yellow, which will be sunglasses. So vest, black jacket and sunglasses, and I will take my dressing gown off there so that we don't have that come up again, and I'll have a think about what to put on there, and we'll do that next week. I do thank you for your time, and do excuse my rant. I'll see you next week. Have a great 7 days.